Hey grey guy. 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 Oh my god, how the f did you get up there? Anyway, what do you guys want to do today? Dismantle the patriarchy.
And I'm bad like the Barbie. Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki.
Hey, so it's been a while. Sorry about that, but sadly that's going to keep being the case, at least until next summer. I started uni again and I also found a job, so yeah, that's life I guess. Also, my parents came to visit for a few weeks, so I was 100% unable to make videos. That's why I have this cheap-ass AI-generated background. With that out of the way, the Barbie movie came out like a lifetime ago, so I'm allowed to talk about it. Of course, there are going to be spoilers involved here, so you've been warned. So why in the hell did I decide to make a video about this movie? After all, I'm late to the trend, everyone seems to have an opinion about it, and a lot of people have already made their opinions public. Very public. But I realized that I was watching the movie from a very unique perspective, since I'm a gay man. And what does that have to do with anything, you might be thinking? Well, I'm not a woman, so I don't feel like it's my place to lecture anyone on feminism or women's struggles, but I also don't get to completely identify with the straight male side of the debate, because I'm not one of them either. From one side, I'm a masculine man that exists in a patriarchal society, therefore I benefit from the system in one way or another, but on the other hand, I'm a part of a minority, and one that has always been associated with femininity and softness and all these things that are apparently wrong for some reason.
Unacceptable!
So, my experience as a man, even if it'll never be the same as a woman's, is still limited by patriarchal biases and a great chunk of oppressive mindsets that come with it. But before I start praising the good things about the movie, I'll talk about the parts that I didn't enjoy as much, because yeah, it's a fun movie with a good message, but I also think people are overselling it a little bit. The story is very simple, the characters are very plain, the fiction is very poorly designed, and some parts of the dialogue could just use more work. And honestly, I don't really blame the movie for this, since it's a kids movie, and by that I don't mean that kids deserve bad movies, I'm just saying that I understand why everything is so simple. Actually, I'm amazed at how they managed to make it so complex without trespassing that line. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is a masterpiece, and also I wouldn't say it's the best movie of the year, but it definitely got me thinking about a lot of stuff, my place in society as a male, and how that translates into the way I treat women, and how other guys treat me because they associate my sexuality with femininity. Now let's get into the video. Barbie is a doll that lives in a perfect world, where Barbies can be whatever they want and Kens are treated as subhuman creatures that serve no purpose. But one day, Barbie starts having thoughts of death.
I'm dying. Help me.
And developing cellulite, which means that the girl who's playing with her in the real world is also having these thoughts and therefore interfering with the perfectness of Barbie's life. So Barbie has to go to the real world to find this girl and help her be empowered again or something. The thing is that Ken decides to go with her without her knowing cause he can't take no for an answer. And he finds out that things are reversed in the real world. People praise him for being a dude and he receives compliments left and right. When suddenly, he finds out about the unspeakable patriarchy. Yep, that 3-syllable word that's enough to destroy the psyche of conservative males in a heartbeat, and the license for radical feminists to call every human with a penis a predator. Very loaded word right there. So they split. Ken gets back to Barbie world and tries to install a patriarchal system, which, I'm sorry, but that's just hilarious. Barbie finds the girl, or actually the woman who was playing with her, and they decide to go back to Barbie world together to run away from Mattel executives that want to hunt Barbie down. Because apparently it is a bad thing for her to be in the real world, even though it's very easy for her to do it whenever she wants. That's not important. Once they do get back, patriarchy is already established and the Kens have all the power. Barbie loses her house, her clothes, and everything that makes her, well, herself, at least in her eyes, which of course is very devastating for her. But then she teams up with the humans to bring back the misandrist state. They succeed at it, and at the end Barbie realizes that it was wrong to treat the Kens the way they did, and the Barbie president agrees to let some Kens into Congress. Barbie rejects Ken, has a heartfelt conversation with her maker, and decides to become a human. The end. So, why are people so mad about this? I've heard a lot of reasons, so I'm going to list them out to organize them better. It is feminism for dudes. It is feminism for white girls. Feminism. It degrades men. It is against motherhood. It promotes the trans lifestyle, whatever that means. It teaches that women don't need men at all, and vice versa. And I think there are more, but that sums it up pretty well. Let's break this down, starting from the feminism thing. This movie clearly wanted to critique the social hierarchy that definitely exists within our world. They just flipped it, and boy, men were not having it. So this is where the fact that I'm gay starts to play a role in this. My experience as a guy has included a lot of insecurities, forced masculinity, and always trying to be one of the guys. Be perceived as the head of the food chain, basically. Actually, there is a lot of sexism within the gay community, but this is the product of years and years of social conditioning that, sadly, a lot of queer men don't ever recover from, since there is a part of ourselves that we can't fight that puts us in a vulnerable space, where our status can't be questioned. So, a lot of gay men try to overdo masculinity. They become super homophobic in a sense that any man that associates with femininity in any level is somehow inferior and not worth talking to. I've personally never been like this, but I definitely have a lot of biases when it comes to what I consider attractive. And yeah, I know I don't owe sex or attraction to anybody, and I also don't need to explain myself, but that doesn't mean that I can't have an introspective approach to this, and realize that maybe a lot of the things that I find desirable are a part of a very clear gender hierarchy in which femininity is considered inferior in comparison to masculinity. So, is Barbie feminism for white women? I don't think so. For example, Moxie. It's a Netflix movie that tries so hard to be a feminist milestone, but in the end, it just tried to be so many things at the same time that it ended up being a mess. But the main thing that bothers me about the movie is that we have this character that knows a lot about the main topic of the movie, has an interesting life story and a vibrant personality, and she's queer on top of that, which is one of the many things that they tried to reivindicate in this movie. But this is the main girl. A straight white girl who literally has no real problems in her life whatsoever and knows nothing about feminism. Oh, and they waste like 30% of the movie on a coming-of-age love subplot that has been done 1,000 times already. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing to have white main characters or straight love stories. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that sometimes having a protagonist with these characteristics feels more like a forced move to appeal to the masses than an actual thought-out decision that helps move the plot forward. So yeah, I'd agree that Moxie is feminism for white girls. It had the potential to create actual social commentary, but they just preferred to make a generic coming-of-age story. But there are reasons to reach that conclusion, and I don't think that just having a white protagonist is enough to deem something white feminism or white activism. Because Barbie is a metaphor. They chose Margot Robbie because she looks like stereotypical Barbie, but everyone in that town is Barbie. And they make that very clear. Besides, it's not like Barbie saved the day by herself. Actually, she was pretty useless until everyone started working together. So, no white savior complex, no forced reason to tell the story from a white character's perspective. I don't think Barbie qualifies as white feminism. But I'm open to other arguments about this one. And that's the last thing I'll say about feminism, because there are a lot of great videos out there talking about this already, and as I said, I don't really feel comfortable lecturing people about it. So, does the Barbie movie degrade men? I just think it's hilarious how a lot of men just can't take being put in the position of a woman for even a second. I think it's pretty clear what the movie was trying to do. They just switched things around. And the fact that a lot of men got offended over such a tiny thing just proves the movie right? I don't think it degrades men, it just puts the male audience in an uncomfortable position, because it exposes their behavior and puts them in the receiving end, and not everyone is ready to be called out like that. I took it with grace because even if I'm not a woman, I've been in the receiving end of that type of violence before, because I'm gay, because I'm associated with femininity, because that's all it takes to be treated as less. So, I think men should stop crying about the fact that Ken didn't get a happy ending for once and maybe actually listen to what the movie tries to say. Which takes me to my next point. People hearing things that the movie didn't try to say. Like promoting the trans lifestyle, for example. I mean, yeah, there is a Barbie that's played by an actress that's trans, but she's Dr. Barbie, not trans Barbie. The movie doesn't even address the fact that she's trans. Actually, that wouldn't even make sense because dolls don't even have genitals. They never talk about it, they never bring it up, and the actress is very cis-passing. So, saying that this movie promotes being trans is 100% a reach. Radical conservatives were just mad about a trans person appearing in the media, mainstream media, which almost nobody would have noticed if it wasn't for their tantrum. The irony. Barbie is against motherhood. A lot of people reach this conclusion because at the beginning we can see how Barbie destroys the traditional toys that, of course, promote cleaning and taking care of babies. And now girls can imagine themselves as lawyers, astronauts, cops, or whatever they want. And to that I say, how fucked up your mind has to be to want every girl in the world to only have access to see themselves as human incubators? Oh my god. But the worst part is that the movie is not even saying that. There's even a line that states it verbally. Women can choose to be mothers if that's what they want. Barbie was never against motherhood. Actually, there's a pregnant Barbie and everything. She's pregnant. Men and women don't need each other. Okay, so this is a tricky one, because if you just watch the movie in brain-dead autopilot mode, you might reach this conclusion, but the actual message here is that everyone is their own person and we shouldn't base our personalities in the relationships we have, which is basically what Ken was doing. But there's even a Barbie that actually develops genuine feelings for a Ken and willingly decides to stay with him after Kens are no longer ruling everything. So yeah, the movie is not against having relationships either. And then there's Alan, who is supposed to represent gay men? Or at least that's what people say. I personally don't think so, since he's supposed to be the father of whatever the f*** is just sitting inside of her. He just represents those men who are more comfortable around women, which doesn't necessarily make you gay. Actually, if I had to guess, the Kens are way more homoerotic than Alan. Anyways, I decided to make this video because I've seen a lot of very biased critiques, a lot of reaching and irrational hatred towards this movie. And I just think it's an interesting commentary on modern society, and a lot of straight men should feel uncomfortable and question more frequently, especially in the mainstream, because it takes so little to destroy their ego that it just can't be a good thing. That would be all for this video, and I hope to see you next time. Remember to like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, and be kind in the comment section. Bye.